the master plan. You want to talk about the master plan?
Yeah, well, Jared Kushner has unveiled the master plan for Gaza, aka the Master's Plan. He did this at Davos, the gathering of global elites, and this is the brainchild of the so-called Board of Peace, which is headed by Donald Trump with the blessing of the UN Security Council. Because recall that at a recent meeting of the UN Security Council, Russia and China did not veto a measure that basically makes Trump the leader of Gaza forever. Even after he leaves the White House, he'll still be the head of the so-called Board of Peace. And so Jared Kushner unveiled their so-called master plan for Gaza as people are still being killed every single day by Israeli bombs, as people are still suffering because they lack food, they lack shelter, all being blocked by Israel, as infants are still freezing to death. Jared Kushner went to Davos and presented to us this dystopian master plan.
This is Jared Kushner, who nobody elected, who is not a member of the U.S. government, has no official position. He is merely the son of a Jewish Zionist billionaire who Trump pardoned and who was I think a business partner of Trump, and is now Trump's son-in-law through Ivanka. So he gets to determine the future of the long-suffering population of Gaza through his explicitly titled master plan.
So we did a master plan. We brought in, I thank you, Kirga Bai, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know.
Really
He's volunteered to do this, not for profit, really because of his heart. He wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential. And this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning, we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we're going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B is. We do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they build cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years. And so stuff like this is very doable if we make it happen. Rafa will start with, this will show a lot of workforce housing. We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And then New Gaza. It could be a hope, it could be a destination, have a lot of industry, and really be a place that the people there can thrive, have great employment. Once this starts going, we think there should be 100% full employment and opportunity for everybody there. And we have a lot of data on what can be, but we think that this really gives the Gazan people an opportunity to live their aspirations. But it all starts with security, and it all starts with governance. Final note I'll just say on the Board of Peace, which is that all the lessons we're doing is we're basically studying the best practices from all over the world, and we're watching who does education the best, who does healthcare delivery the best. All these things it's not secret IP. All this is IP that the Board of Peace is going to make public, and we want to encourage all the countries to be able to follow these best practices. A lot of the things that President Trump is doing in America, if they're working, we should all be copying them. If we find what's working in other countries, we should be copying them too. And so what the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're successful with Gaza is really show how do you do peace implementation, which is something that when we got this deal done, we didn't really find too much expertise or know-how on how to do it. So as we're creating this system, hopefully it's something that we can just document these learnings and make them available to all else who want to use them in the future. So demilitarization, this is something we're starting now. We have a new government in Gaza. This government will be working with Hamas on the demilitarization to really take the principles that were agreed to in the document to the next phase. And hopefully that will be successful. Without that, we can't rebuild. So if Hamas does not demilitarize, that will be what holds back Gaza and the people of Gaza from achieving their aspiration. And that's very important. So the next 100 days, we're going to continue to just be heads down and focused on making sure this is implemented. We continue to be focused on humanitarian aid, humanitarian shelter, but then creating the conditions to move forward. So thank you. Final point I'll just make is this is really only possible because of the work of so many people and President Trump's great leadership. But a lot of you have been asking, how can we help? So the countries have all been incredibly generous. We'll be doing the first conference where we'll announce a lot of the contributions that will be made in a couple of weeks in Washington. From the private sector, there'll be amazing investment opportunities. I know it's a little risky to be investing in a place like this, but we need you to come, take faith, invest in the people, try to be a part of it. And then finally, I'll just talk to people on the media and on the social media, which is, this deal only happened because we worked with Israel, we worked with Turkey, we worked with Qatar, we worked with Saudi, we worked with Egypt. I mean, everyone worked together. We worked with UAE. We all worked together to make this happen. I see a lot of people trying to escalate, criticizing together to make this happen.
No one from Europe
A lot of people trying to escalate, criticizing Israel or Israelis criticizing Turkey or Qatar. Just calm down for 30 days. I think that the war's over. Let's do our best to try working together. Our goal here is peace between Israel and the Palestinian people. Everyone wants to live peacefully. Everyone wants to live with dignity. Let's put our efforts towards promoting those who are doing the work to build this up, like Ali and his committee. Let's focus on the positive stories and let's just calm down, turn a new chapter. And if we believe that peace is possible, then peace really can be possible. So we're going to continue to work every day. We need all of your help to do it. And again, I just really want to thank President Trump for his leadership in doing this. This would not have been possible without your commitment to this. Everyone thought it was impossible to end this war. You never gave up. You never stopped. Every time there was a setback, you told us to try harder. You gave us different ideas. And we've made several impossible things happen just in Gaza to date. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to make even more impossible things happen. So really.
So, yeah. Jewish Zionist real estate guy gets to redesign Gaza into a biometric concentration camp with the support or consent of those who want to buy into Trump's pay-for-play board for peace, which requires a $1 billion pay-in. It's modeled, the logo is modeled after the UN Security Council logo, but with gold wings.
God.
So Trump is aiming to replace the UN Security Council and create a one world Trumpian government. And Gaza becomes the basis for the one world biometric radical Zionist 1% Trump incorporated government that countries must pay into in order to enrich Trump and his cronies for a seat at the table. And Turkey and Qatar have agreed, and Russia and China did not veto at the Security Council this plan. And now Putin is buying into it.
And Putin's only condition, apparently, is he wants frozen Russian assets to pay for his initiation fee. That's his only concern. I mean, how somebody's not boycotting this thing is beyond me. Spain has boycotted this, to their credit. But how anyone can sign on to this, there's no Palestinians. In fact, the Board of Peace doesn't even mention Palestinians in its charter. There's no Palestinians on the so-called Board of Peace. It's mostly Zionists, including Benjamin Netanyahu has been invited by Trump, and I believe he accepted.
Yep.
And their plan for Gaza itself. Well, maybe we'll get to that, but it truly is every single dystopian fantasy distilled into one. I mean, this really is it right here. And the fact that they'll want to do it on what is essentially a mass grave, build new concentration camps inside a concentration camp they've destroyed. You really couldn't write it if you were trying to imagine something so hellish.
1948, quote unquote, Israel was created. Palestinians were subjected to the Nakba. That was when the whole infrastructure of the post-World War international order was established, including the UN and the model of the Security Council, the International Declaration of Human Rights, Geneva Conventions were being developed into this international order. And yet the UN voted to establish Israel, one of the most shameful crimes in modern history. And now it's all come full circle following the Gaza Holocaust. From one Holocaust to another, the UN is being outmoded by the Trumpian one world government known as in the most Orwellian terms possible, as a Board of Peace, with the consent of key regional players. And let's go back to Gaza, where we will see the master plan in detail. And again, I just want to emphasize this. This is a map of Gaza, but this is coming to a neighborhood near you if we allow this to happen. This is a model for humanity by our AI warlord masters. This is what the map looks like. And you can see yellow is where the so-called the unpeople, the refugee unpeople will live. Then the brown is for industrial complex data centers. Then there's one road along the side, highways and local transportation. And parks, agriculture, and sports facilities are green. There's a port. It looks pretty good. An airport. Everything's based in the south, though. That north, that brown zone is, those are the refugee camps that Israel wiped off the map in Jabalia, Beit Hanun. Gaza City is reduced to a tiny little space. There's a park in the middle of Gaza City to reduce residential areas. And here's a pretty good analysis of what this map means from someone named called Hamza Attar. Pink is where the rich live. Yellow is for the workforce, the slaves who will work in the data centers and sweatshops. White,
zoom in a little more if you can.
Yeah. White, normalizing Israeli occupation. So look at these white areas here. And that's, the areas bordering Israel. So Israel gets this massive buffer zone. There's no border with Egypt. So the Philadelphia corridor is completely controlled by Israel. Shifting balance from Gaza City to Khan Yunis and Rafah in the south. Gaza City population is now the highest, but it'll be reversed because that's, Gaza City is the base of the middle class in Gaza, as well as the governing facilities. Industrial hubs mean relying on the Israeli supply chain. Electricity, it can be cut off whenever Israel wants. Rafah and Khan Yunis are being engineered as attractive cities to move Palestinians away from Gaza City towards the south. It also will move Palestinians toward Egypt and push them out ultimately. The new port was moved to Rafah to be adjacent to the Israeli occupied area. It's an Israeli controlled port. Then there's a marina for the rich. Islands for rich investors or rulers to live away from the population is in section 10. So there it is. I mean, it's basically like a gigantic, biometrically controlled smart city. And right now, as Aaron pointed out, Gaza's being bombed. Several journalists were murdered 2 days ago while covering an Egyptian Humanitarian Foundation's ceremony. People are being killed for trying to return to their homes across the so-called yellow line, which is in the areas in white in that map, because that's where Israel is now demolishing homes. And Jared Kushner refers to that in his speech. He says, we're clearing out the rubble. We're clearing out the rubble. Israel is blowing up homes across the yellow line to create the basis for this giant biometric concentration camp known as Gaza. That's where they're going to build new Rafah, which is in these maps from the master plan, which is in the PowerPoint presentation from the master plan, and new Khan Yunis. And then they're going to move in on the areas which are controlled by the resistance in Gaza. And they need to demilitarize and de-radicalize in order to push the population into these camps and like basically de facto slave camps, reservations. They're already there, but they're imposing this map on top of them. The Palestinians have never mattered. Their voices don't matter. There are no Palestinians on the board of peace. They don't exist as humanity. They didn't exist in 1948 when the UN voted, and they don't exist today. And this is, again, a model coming to you in the techno-feudalist future, and the only thing that's standing between it and us is the Palestinian resistance. The Palestinian resistance represented by murdered voices like Abu Obaida. Yeah, I said it. They were the true freedom fighters of humanity, standing against the Tony Blairs, the Larry Ellisons, the Jared Kushners, and the Gulf slime bags who want to profit from this. That's the reality. And yes, Tony Blair is on the board of peace. What can we say about the figures on the board of peace?
The fact that Trump picked Tony Blair, it's almost if he wants to go out of his way to insult the people of the Middle East, to like just show in their, just flaunt in their faces how he is the colonial overlord, to the point where he's going to install someone who took part in the invasion of Iraq, which has now led to so many millions of deaths. I mean, the arrogance, the hubris here of Trump and putting in Tony Blair. Because why else would you put in Tony Blair? I mean, yes, he's connected to all the Gulf monarchies, but plenty of people are. Yeah, sure. But he's just showing such contempt for the people at every opportunity that he can. And the fact that again, you pointed this out, Jared Kushner, on top of being a Jewish Zionist American, being, handed the keys to Gaza, doesn't even have a government position. So who is this guy and why is he there? He's there because he's Israel first. And that's what the message is if you want to if you want to have a future, if you want to be able to survive in your own land, if you're Palestinian, you have to put Israel's needs first. And that's what the master's plan does here in Gaza.
It's a multi-tiered global payola system as well. To get on the board of peace, you pay Trump $1 billion. And then below Trump is Jared Kushner, the fixer, who has this company, which is taking in investments, which is an investment firm that's getting money from the Emirati Sovereign Investment Fund, for example, and all these Gulf billionaires. And he wants to profit from Gaza. And who else could profit from Gaza? You see there's all these data centers planned for Gaza. Oracle, the AI warlords. And so they have to pay Jared Kushner to get into Gaza. And then once there, they can profit from the genocide of Palestinians by rebuilding this seafront property, quote unquote, rebuilding it. Larry Ellison's directly involved here. Yes, the owner of TikTok, whose son, Israel firster David Ellison, close contact of the Israeli government, took over Paramount and handed the keys to CBS to Barry Weiss. The Ellison family are involved through Tony Blair because they are paying for the Tony Blair Institute. I think they're one of the largest donors to the Tony Blair Institute. Larry Ellison and Oracle are. And that's why Tony Blair is out there advancing digital ID and all of these surveillance capitalist techno solutions. Watch this. This is a chilling clip that I think took place. This took place at a conference, I think, in the United Arab Emirates. It's actually called the World Government Summit. Like if I was some John Birch guy from the 1950s, everything we're talking about would have caused me to blow my brains out. Watch, this is so. Can we stop saying dystopian and Orwellian? I need a thesaurus.
What? Because you're right.
This is reptilian shapeshifter Tony Blair, modeled after Nikolai Karpathia, the Antichrist of Tim LaHaye's Left Behind series.
Forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
The first thing a country needs to do.
That's Larry Ellison of Oracle, Tony Blair's top donor.
Unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. The NHS in the UK has
Did you hear what he just said? Genomic data?
an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link. We need to unify all of the national data, put it into a database where it's easily consumable by the AI model, and then ask whatever question you like.
Tell us a bit.
So even genomic data, like the stuff 23andMe uses and potentially more, actually, if you go to prison or you go to jail for a day, the marshals they try to get your DNA. So DNA, all of your data, all centralized in one place for the AI warlords to access. That's the Palantir model. Palantir has been proposed as a potential participant in Gaza after they participated in the genocide, providing targeting assistance to the Israeli genocide machine. So and they're at the World Government Summit. It's all just being rammed in our face right now, what they want. And Tony Blair, that's how he got the seat, I think, on the Board of Peace. That's the future. The one thing standing against it that can complicate it is the resistance in Gaza that's being asked to disarm and move into biometric concentration camps and provide their data and their genomic data and their DNA to Larry Ellison's One World AI data center. And yeah.
What's amazing to me is Palestinians in Gaza are arguably, I think, the most surveilled population in the world already. But under this plan, they would find new ways to intrude into people's lives and control, everything they do. Like to be able to live in one of these like new population centers, you have to give, like, everyone's eyes would be scanned. It's, again, I'm sorry, it's a trope at this point, dystopian, but they want to somehow increase the surveillance of one of the most surveilled populations in the world.